Greetings, everyone. How are you all doing today? My goodness. Happy Friday. Friday is the day. Hello, Kelly Moon. Buddha HM. No. Kelly Moon Buddha McCann. Something like that. Okay. People's handles are always very interesting to me. Okay, you all. The astrology, today is Venus Day. I want to say that I'm very grateful for the astrology because it gives me peace about what's going on in my life. Oh, okay, thank you. It gives me peace about what's going on in my life. And there's been so much happening because the old perception of myself is dying and a new perception is being born. And it's literally like the shedding of a skin. It's like a snake that sheds its skin. Yesterday, I was so moved. As you all know, I'm facilitator in a community. It's an initiation. It's actually not just a community. It is a community, but it is an initiation, Daughters of the 13 Moons. And we are a community of women devoted to doing the deep transformational work to access our magic and our power. And the thing that's really interesting about that is that we have not been told that we are magical or powerful. We have been told that we've been given all these other narratives about who we are. And as I drop those other narratives and come into the realization of who I truly am and what I'm truly up to, the revolution of that is mind-blowing. And being able to see how my life has been set up in ways that move me towards corruption, meaning relationships of overgiving, overextending, not understanding my own sense of self, not being able to set boundaries for myself. It's never about setting boundaries for other people. It's always about setting boundaries for the self, not understanding any of that. And now that I have such a greater understanding of it than I had, still not even a full understanding, I am shattered. I am shattered by the quote unquote mistakes that I have made. I don't believe that there are mistakes at all. I believe that everything serves to further. I believe that everything was necessary, but I'm so clear about the ways that I have had to learn hard lessons and why, because of misinformation and not listening to myself. So with that, today is Venus Day. Venus is currently at the 0 degree of Gemini, y'all. Venus just left Taurus minutes ago, okay? Minutes ago. So today is Friday, and on Friday on Venus Day, I ask for donations. And so if this work supports you and you want to donate, you can do so at my Cash App, which is $ Monique Ruffin, or you can do so at my Venmo, which is @ Monique-Ruffin, or PayPal, MoniqueCRuffin@gmail.com. Or you can go and purchase the Mercury Retrograde Workbook, which would actually be a greater exchange for me and for you, because you will get something that is a value to this work that we're doing. And the Mercury Retrograde Workbook is designed to support you and whomever through doing the rituals and the practices to gain the juice and the power that will come with this Mercury retrograde in Leo. This Mercury retrograde in Leo is so significant because Leo is the energy of your creative self-expression. It's the energy of your personality, basically. Leo is the energy of who you are that makes you you. that makes you not someone else. The things that are specific to you that, it's like there's a tree and this tree grows oranges and this tree grows apples. Well, the thing that makes one tree an orange tree and another tree an apple tree is the Leo energy. And you want to be able to access your individuality. It is so important. It is so important. And that has been my greatest lesson, because I have a Pisces rising, and my energy has guided me, no mistake, to merge with others, to lose myself, to give myself over. And that has been the thing that has been so costly in my life. And I appreciate it. I have learned a great lesson. I am always learning great lessons, but I am starting to finally understand the value of honoring my individual codes, my individual expression, my creative ideas, my mind, my thoughts, my feelings, which brings me to Venus. Venus is the energy that governs our feelings and our emotions. The emotions, when we have a feeling in our body, we feel cold or hot, or we feel excited or scared, that's Venus, okay? That is Venus. And that energy is your superpower. It is the power to generate anything you desire. And most of us have no idea what it is, how to access it, or even that it is a necessary part of us, because we have compromised ourselves for the sake of the other. The ways that we give up this Venus energy, the ways that we have sort of sacrificed ourselves is for money, right? Or it's like, I have this job pays me this money, I hate this job, but I'm going to do it anyway for the money. And when we do that, we literally die a little bit. When we're children, and I did this countless times with my child. He didn't want to go to school. He didn't want to go, but I had to go to work, or I had to do something else, and I didn't have the opportunity to be in caregiving mode. So I sent him against his will to school. That is Venus. He did not feel that, and he didn't feel aligned to that, but I insisted, and he did it anyway. We go to church when we don't want to. We do all the things we do that we don't really feel aligned to. That is how we diminish our power, by doing things for others, by doing things for money, by doing things in relationships. We do it in relationships over and over and over again. Your partner wants one thing, you want something else. I see married couples, oh, my husband got a new job and now I'm going to move. But you don't really want to move, but he got a job. You're denying your sensory feeling. You're denying your own code for another. That is where we break our contract with ourselves with Venus. Other ways that we can do it is if we don't love ourselves. Like, so maybe I don't love that I have gray hair and I dye my hair because I don't love who I am. That is denying my Venus. Maybe I don't like my body, so I go and add breast implants. If I'm doing it from a place of scarcity, that is denying my Venus. Maybe I'm in a relationship with somebody. I know people. I had this friend who was married to a white man, and she acknowledged to me that she was married to him because he could give her access to a world that she couldn't access if she wasn't associated with a white man. That is her denying her Venus, her own power. This is Venus. The places we forego our own boundaries, the places where we go against ourselves for some sort of external gratitude that always becomes corrupt ultimately. So say you get breast implants and then they burst on the inside of you and now you have some sort of autoimmune disease because you went against your nature. You know, maybe if I were like, this is true, when I was dyeing my hair, because my hair started graying when I was 23, and I would dye it, and I started dyeing it in my late 20s, because a man I was dating, his brother said, "Oh, Monique is really young, but that gray hair makes her look older." And so I took that information and decided that what he said was more valuable than how I felt, and I started dyeing my hair. And so my hair eventually started to break off and fall out because I was going against my nature. Do you understand? Does this make sense? Does anybody relate to this? Anybody relate? Nobody relates? No hearts? No, I know what you're talking about. No one has ever done something to get along. I love that for you guys. I love that. I love that. I love that. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. It's very simple. Okay. Working for money, like doing a job that you don't like for money. Going into spaces that don't really resonate with you because there's somebody in there that you want. Like all of that is how we corrupt our own senses. That is how we become corrupt to our own senses. And he said right now, and the fallout of it is that you become untrustworthy to yourself. You betray yourself. You abandon yourself. That is a form of self-abandonment, self-betrayal, which then shows up. It will become illness in your body. It will become relationships that are corrupt. Yes, it starts when we are babies, forced to hug and kiss people and do all, and that is absolutely right. Walking down the street as a woman and you hear a man say, like men everyone, especially when I spent time in New York, you sure would look better if you were smiling, and then I crack a smile for some man, even though I don't feel like that, right? Like the ways that we abandon ourselves for the sake of the external world, the ways that we give up our own codes, contingencies, ways of being to fit in, to prove. And what happens is you begin to corrupt your own value system. This is about your own values. So I might value that, I feel amazing with white hair. And then someone says, "Oh, it's not so nice on her." And then I go, "I don't value it anymore." That is a corruption. That is a corruption. Oh, you guys, I just gotta say, I really love this work. I fucking love this work. And the reason I love it is because it's never too late. It's never too late. Even though, I started abandoning myself when I was young because my grandma said I gotta go to church or you gotta go hug. Like I had an uncle who was actually a full-on molester living in my house and my grandmother's son. And my grandmother was a religious woman, so she felt really responsible for her child. And she understood why he was the way he was. My grandmother had a younger sister. My grandmother was Myrtle. She had a younger sister named Naomi. Their father was a minister in Louisiana, Lake Charles. Naomi got pregnant. And when Naomi got pregnant, my grandmother and her sisters and her mother attempted to hide the pregnancy from their father. my great-great-grandmother's husband. And they sent Naomi to another state to have the baby. Told the father, I don't know what they told him, but he was a minister, he was busy. You know, women can make up all sorts of things. Men are completely at the loss of women's creations. Like, they could have told him anything. Like, as a woman, I understand, like, how did they trick him into understanding it? He never knew. He had no idea what happened, because they spin a story, sent her to go have the baby. My grandmother had a child that died. And when this child was being born, they concocted a story that Naomi would have the baby, and my grandmother would go and pick up the baby like the baby was hers and raise the baby as her own, and Naomi would go back on as if she'd never had a baby. How they did this, how he allowed this, and I have no idea. But years later, that baby, as an adult, was enraged, became a bank robber, became a thing, because there was a lie. There was a lie that was being told that he was aware of but unclear about. They were lying and he knew it. His subconscious knew it. So later in life, he went to jail. He came back from jail, and when he came home, he was a terror. And my grandmother, in all of her guilt, because they had kept this secret, because they had not divulged what was going on, she had him living in the house with my aunt and myself, and he had attempted to rape my aunt. And my grandmother, like, just all of this kind of stuff. Can you imagine this kind of insanity going on? Can you guys imagine this shit? Right? This is the impact of white supremacy and Christianity and all of these isms converging in one household, in one family. And so, why was I telling this story? Right, exactly. So my cousin, who believed he was my uncle, was not a safe man to be in the house with. Sounds like Lake Charles stuff. Yes. Was not a safe man to be in the house with. So my grandmother she was juggling, like, trying to keep me safe, trying to keep him from going back to jail, and when I tell you the hoops that we all had to jump through, living in a house that was probably 1,000 square feet. Literally. So my grandmother would be locking doors, locking him in here, locking me out of here, and I'm 10 or 11 years old. I don't really have an idea what's going on. And then at some point, my grandmother just got really clear and sent me to live with her sister, where there were no predators in the house. And my uncle ended up becoming a heroin addict. He ended up molesting his oldest daughter. Like, it turned into a whole fucking thing, to the point that before he died, he died so brokenhearted, because he knew that his soul knew that he was acting out of some sort of karmic expression. But he didn't have language for it, because no one ever told him the truth. And on one of my aunt's deathbed, he came and sat in the house and cried. Because he was like, before she dies, I need her to tell me the truth. I don't think she told him. I think that he never knew the truth of his existence, his father. I think that my aunt died with the information. And all of this stuff is Venus stuff. It's about boundaries and relationships and sex and secrets and so Venus stuff is very important. I believe my brother may be going, wow, yes, I'm so sorry. I really am. And before I get off, I'm going to do a prayer. Because many of our families have these deep secrets that are being held. And it creates all of this shame. It creates all of this dysfunction and depression, because there's this unspoken things that are happening beneath the surface that we can sense, that we can feel, but we don't have the actual information. So it's just running in the shadows. It's running in the shadows. Okay, you all. Wow. I did not get on here and expect to do this. Okay, so let's come back to the astrology. So Venus is at the 0 degree of Gemini. Venus is at the 0 degree of Gemini. It was in Taurus for the last 3 weeks where we got to rebuild our sensory system, because Venus rules Taurus, and it's literally your sinuses, your hearing, tasting, your body, the skin. It's literally that. And most of us don't trust our senses. We don't trust it because we've been in environments where we have been told not to trust it. So we want to begin to come home to our senses. The sun is in Cancer, and we want to begin to reestablish healthy boundaries from our childhood patterns. You want to begin to understand, when did you have to give up your boundaries? As girls and boys, when did you have to give up your sense of self, your sovereignty? When did you lose it? Do you ever remember having it? I never had sovereignty because my parents were who they were. So, and I have a Pisces rising. So I never had it. So I'm constructing it now as a 50-something-year-old. I'm constructing my own boundaries, what feels right. And how that's showing up is there are people who in my life now who I just ain't fucking with them no more, because the patterns that in those relationships are based upon the patterns from my childhood. And I am not that person any longer. So I am letting go of relationships that have been coded in my body based upon my childhood patterns, based upon growing up in a family where I couldn't say no, where I had to do what people told me to do, where I didn't have my own space, where I was always being directed on somebody else's time. Like, I literally, Pisces risings don't have sovereignty. They can, but you have to find out how to access it. It's not that you can't have sovereignty. You have to find out where your sovereignty lies. It's available for you, but it's likely that you may have grown up in an environment where that wasn't given to you. And I would have to look at your chart or have a conversation with you to be able to understand how it shows up for you. But you know what I'm talking about. You know it. You get it. And so it's literally, and it's not about, like, people always like boundaries for others. It's not about creating the boundaries for others. It's about creating the boundaries for yourself. Like, I am realizing that I have to show up for myself. Does this work for me? Is this true for me? I have had a tendency to let people in my life who don't tell the truth, who say they're going to do something and do something else. And because I grew up with that, that has been normal to me, that people don't keep their words, and so I just am like, oh, it's okay. They'll do it. They'll figure it out. And they never do. And so now I'm like, get clear about what I want, get busy doing what I want, and spend time with the people who are in alignment with what I'm already doing. Don't allow people to come into my life and just drain my energy and just say yes when they really mean no and say up when they really mean. I am responsible for that. I am responsible for that. So that is what this Venus work is. It's about literally knowing what is my yes and what is my no, what feels good for me and what does not feel good for me. And it's not, and it gets really tricky because it's Venus, and Venus, this stuff shows up in relationships. So what happens is it'll be like, oh, they lied. What in me attracts liars? What in me attracts people who don't keep their word? What in me attracts people who don't show up in the way that they say they? What in me? What is it in me, right? Like, what is it in me that would attract people who would start off in one way, but then get angry and take back. What is it in me that does that? That's the key here. This is not about blaming and not about them and them and all of. Sometimes I hear people, even the most awake spiritual people, I hear them talking about others. And it's never about the other, ever. The other is only ever a mirror. The other is only a mirror to you, because this is a reality that shows up as a reflection. You got to understand where we are. We are in a system that is energy based. So if I have liars in my space, if I have cheats if I have people who are, it's because of me. It's not because of them. People are in my show. They're in my reality. And if I am emanating an energy of dysfunction or disconnection, the people in my reality are going to mirror that to me. And so literally I have to go inside of myself and go, well, where is it that this is showing me? What is it showing me about myself? Yes. It's practice. It is practice. And that's why I create environments for us to be in spaces where we're all doing it together, where it is the common voice, so that we can live in that place. Because the more you live in it, the more the reality around you begins to the matrix around you begins to match a new frequency when you know who you are, when you are true to who you're meant to be. So the moon today is in Scorpio, and Scorpio is about shared power, and the sun is in Cancer. So these energies are very significant in that you got to really pay attention to the mirror. You got to really pay attention to the mirror, because what will be mirrored to you are ways that your childhood patterns have been formulated. And what I'm seeing in myself right now is that I have had a tendency to give my power away in girlfriend relationships based upon the yearning for my mother, because I never had a mother who was really present with me in a way. So when we experience neglect, when you experience neglect, your system will starve, and it will lead you into situations where you continue to experience the thing that needs your attention. So for me, I have been in relationships with women who, not all, but many. I have some women in my life who are not a joke, who are so fucking down for me. It is remarkable. And they are usually Aquarians. They are usually Aquarians. All the other women in my life, generally, there's something going on where it's out of balance. But Aquarians are ultimately free-spirited women. And so they're not here to drain power. And so, and I can't even say it that much anymore because I'm still in it. So I'm still in it. So today is a day, this Venus day, Venus in Gemini. You want to get clear about your story around your feelings. How do you feel with certain people? How do you feel? How do you feel in certain conditions and certain experiences? And you have to get very honest with yourself. If something doesn't feel right, you have to be like, it don't feel right. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm like, it don't feel right. I don't know why. And I don't care if I don't why. I don't resonate with this person. I don't need to know why I don't. And I'm not going to force it. It's a no. And that's it. That's it. It's a no. And now that I am there, because I am very generous, and I'm the type of person that will share everything I have, but I can't share with people who don't have reciprocity. That's why when I get on here on Fridays, I'm like, okay, you guys see what I'm doing, create reciprocity, donate, send your music, because I am generous and what I have to offer is life-changing. And I have been the kind of person who would give it away for free. The thing that I have started doing is at least asking for reciprocity. It's like, okay, I'm going to give you something really valuable, and I would love it if you would return that to me. That's why I ask for reciprocity, because that is a pattern of mine to give away my value without getting anything in return. So that's why I do the Venus Day reciprocity. And thank you to all of you guys who donate, who share, who whatever. I really deeply appreciate it because it is helping me heal myself. All right, you all. If you want to donate, you can do it at my Cash App, which is $Monique Ruffin, or you can do it at my, thank you, Mike, or you can do it at my Venmo, which is @Monique Ruffin, or PayPal, MoniqueCRuffin@gmail.com, or you can go pick up the Mercury retrograde workbook and you will get something, and you will get something that will support you through this Mercury class that we are, this Mercury retrograde that we're beginning to move through. I love you all so very much. I love this work. I'm deeply grateful and honored that I get to be in support and service to humanity in this way at this time. And I love y'all. Have a really beautiful day. Peace and blessings. Bye-bye.